Welcome to Dan Really Likes Wine, and a very special week because the announcement came through just a few days ago that the venues have been confirmed for the Cape Wine Auction for 2017. It's an event I love, and I'm very happy to announce that I'll be back in 2018 as both host and auctioneer, trying my best with the Cape Auction team to get past the 23 million rand we raised last year. Now, a couple of weeks ago, the Cape Wine Auction team got together with all of their beneficiaries, and the work that's been done with the money raised is simply astonishing. Extraordinary charities who are able to continue their work and increase their work thanks to that very large sum of money raised through the generosity of the people at the auction and the time and the people who have put it together. Wendy Applebaum, Raymond Global, Mike Ratcliffe, Ken Kinsey-Quick, Siobhan Thompson and Daryl Robertson, the auction director, who put together a wonderful event out at Anthony Rupert last year. So where are we headed in 2018? We are off to two great estates. The first of them is Tokara, and Tokara has been in the news of late because Miles Mossop, who's been making quite brilliant wine at Tokara for as long as I can remember, has decided to move on. He's going to be making his own wine under his own label, richly rewarded. He's done some extraordinary work at Tokara, and he certainly goes with Tokara's blessings. So trying a couple of their wines. That'll be the host for the American Express barrel tasting on the Friday night. Then Saturday, the actual Cape Wine Auction with Nedbank Wealth. That'll be held at Rustenberg, also in Stellenbosch. Beautiful venue, and I'm very excited to head off there. So in celebration of that, also checking out a couple of wines from Rustenberg. But we start with Tokara. Now this was passed on to me, not by Tokara itself, but by good friend Gavin at Meridian Wines, who celebrated his 50th birthday last week. So happy birthday, Gavin. Meridian have some great wine they represent, and this is some of the best. So the Director's Reserve is a very sturdy white blend. It's Sauvignon Blanc led. It's about 2/3 Sauvignon Blanc, 1/3 Semillon. And we're seeing quite a lot of this sort of style in South Africa. And I quite like it. It kind of turns a Sauvignon Blanc into a bit of a muscle car, gives it a bit of backbone, gives it some extra structure, but without losing that beautiful Sauvignon Blanc feel, provided it's done right. And if it's in the hands of Miles Mossop, which it was when this one was made, you suspect that will certainly be the case. So Miles Mossop is revered in winemaking circles in South Africa. He's had a pretty big year, not just announcing his move, but he also won the Veterans Division, or the Bullies Division as it's known, in the Winemakers Surfing Championships, which I think he'll rate as an achievement as great as any of the wine he brings out this year. I'll probably go for the wine over the surfing, and this is one I've been looking forward to for quite a while. That really is lovely. I think that muscle car phrase is so right. It takes the Sauvignon Blanc and it just bulks it up, puts it in the gym and turns it into something big and strong and rich and bold. But there's still that underlying level of Sauvignon Blanc subtlety, and the combination is delightful. There's a richness to it, incredibly smooth. There's a slightly sharp citrus feel to it, but not overwhelmingly so. And like so many of these wines have been made so carefully, 2014, it's aged a little, but definitely got plenty more time to play with. Lovely wine, and I certainly hope there'll be some of this available at the wine tasting at Tokara next year. Next up, the other Director's Reserve. Now, what you're watching now comes through the camera and via the direction of Stefanus Rabi, who's one of South Africa's most exciting young directors. Directs Boersoeke Vrou. He was on the Jan Braai show. He does a lot for my other show, the Dan Nichols show on Supersport, and he is absolutely besotted with wine. He knows more about it than pretty much anybody I know, and it takes quite a lot to get him excited about a wine. When he saw we were having a look at this, his eyes lit up because he reckons it's one of the nicest wines he's had this year, and if Stefanus likes it, there's a very good chance the rest of us will. It's a Bordeaux blend in the classic style, again in the hands of Miles Mossop. This one's Cabernet Sauvignon led. It's closing in on about 70%, and then little dashes of bits of Malbec and Petit Verdot and the like thrown in to round it off, add a touch of complexity and give it that lovely rich Bordeaux blend feel. Bordeaux blend can be a bit of a hackneyed term. Throw in the right types of grapes and I've got a Bordeaux blend and it sounds French. And you could do that and make something that technically is a Bordeaux blend. But if it doesn't have that feel, if it doesn't made just the right way, then you can get something that's a little bit flat and is less than the sum of its parts, where a great Bordeaux blend becomes more than the sum of its parts. And when you get a really good one, and we do make some exceptional examples here in South Africa, then it's a real cause for celebration. Very rarely does Stefanos Arabi and I disagree on wine, and we certainly won't here. That Miles Mossop is lovely. Little smokiness coming through it, very silky, soft tannins, lovely big mouthful of wine, like its white compatriot, a richness to it, and just an exceptional example of getting Bordeaux blend just right. And like the white, it's got some time, probably a bit longer than the white. You can drink it now and it's drinking delightfully, but it's also got plenty of time ahead of it. It's a lovely estate. We're going to have a great time at the barrel tasting on the Friday night, come February 2018, but it's the wine itself that surpasses even the aesthetics of one of the lovelier estates in South Africa. Friday 9 February in the diary 2018 for the American Express barrel tasting, Nedbank Wealth Cape Wine Auction. Saturday the 10th from Tokara we move to Rustenberg. It is a delightful tract of the winemaking world, and it's a cellar that's well established for producing some outstanding wine. And this is a wine I've got to know quite well over the years, an incredibly dependable red blend. It's the John X Merriman. I think we are South Africa, so it could be the John Merriman. Either way, it's a wine I've really enjoyed over the years and a great example of what Rustenberg are capable of. Like the Director's Reserve we just tried from Tokara, this is a classic red blend. Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc, Merlot, Malbec, bit of Petit Verdot in there as well. So it's a very recognisable blend, it's a very approachable blend, and it's one that the Barlows have had a huge success with as a family. You see it in a lot of wine lists in restaurants, you see it in a lot of supermarkets. It's a wine that's become synonymous with delivering great value and, more importantly, great consistency. And consistent that certainly is, delivering exactly what you'd expect, a nice robust red. It's about half the price of that Director's Reserve. It's not drinking quite as smoothly as the Tokara, but it is just a little bit younger. Another year or two it'll probably settle slightly more, but it is already more than pleasant, and I usually have a case of this sitting at home. It's a great wine to just reach for a bottle for middle of the week, perfect to wash down dinner with. And then to wrap up, the Buzzard Kloof. Now, you might have been expecting the Peter Barlow as the showcase, but this is a wine I rather like. It is a cool climate Syrah, and it's a style of Shiraz that I think is really good and that South Africa is doing really well. The slightly more mellow, slightly milder, slightly more subtle version of the Shiraz or Syrah. Buzzard Kloof, named after the birds. You'll see a few of them out there at Rustenberg. Maybe they'll even join us at the Cape Wine Auction come February next year. Oof. Already you can see the colour, there's an intense purple to this, and a really, really alluring nose. So I mentioned that slightly softer, more subtle style, and that is certainly it. It's a fairly young wine, it's only 2015, but already a lovely sense of balance to it, a nice leathery finish, and a wine that's got some time in it. It's probably just shy of 200 rand a bottle there or thereabouts, so it's going to take a little bit of an investment, but it's definitely an investment worth making. As is the investment that the Cape Wine Auction team, friends, supporters have made in the winelands, the charities, and extraordinary charities they are, benefiting last year from 23 million rand, in 2018 hopefully even more. If you'd like to come along, there will be some tickets available. The Cape Wine Auction will have them on sale. Go and have a look at their website, have a look at the charities they support, and see the winelands doing some good. You could come along, you'll be subjected to me for a couple of days, but you'll also get to drink some wonderful wine, and in the space of Tokara and Rustenberg, experience two of the most beautiful wine estates in South Africa. Cheers.